Hi guys. I wanted to record this video to just kind of review what you guys have to do. Sorry, what you have due when we get back from break. So, looking at the syllabus, sorry. You can see so we have some summary strategies we need to catch up on. We missed the incredible 5-point scale. We still have to do antecedent based. And I have a random day on a Friday thrown in here. So what we're going to do is basically we're just going to get through Tuesday and Thursday. We're going to do the debate and discussion on Thursday. We'll do the incredible 5-point scale, the antecedent-based interventions on Tuesday. We'll check in with the project and just kind of fill in anything that we need, you still have questions about or anything. So let's talk about the prompting procedure assignment that you guys have due. Okay, so if we go over to assignments, and if you hear some noises, those are my dogs. They're down by my feet, chewing on bones. Okay, go down and you've got a couple things we need to look at. So the first thing is, let's look at the grading checklist. Okay, so this is your kind of description and how do I move this up? And how I'm going to grade it. So the first thing you need to do is select a life skill to teach. We've talked about that. Write a task analysis. And I'm going to walk you through some of these steps because you have a worksheet that you need to submit. Write a task analysis, determine your teaching methods, and then basically what you're going to do is teach this skill to someone, whoever you want to teach it to, it doesn't matter, using least to most prompting. So remember we watched that video on how to make chocolate milk? It's similar to that. You need to make sure that your learner makes some mistakes, so you show that you can use this prompting. You need to videotape the session, and you need to take data on how well they performed. I do have a data collection sheet as part of the worksheet, so you can take a look at that, and then you need to graph their performance. Whew, whooped. Okay, so here's how you're going to be graded. Let me show you exactly what we're looking for. And I'm actually going to pull up the example one that I posted yesterday that we worked on in class. So those of you who are in class, this would look familiar. So you've got three things. You've got the grading checklist. That's what I just opened and showed you, which is just basically how you're going to get graded. So when you're done, you may want to just go through that checklist. And then you've got a blank worksheet, and you've got a worksheet filled out. So I'm actually going to pull up, here's what the blank worksheet looks like, just so you know. So if you pull that up off of Blackboard, that's what you're going to be able to fill in. But here is the example already filled in, so this should help. Okay. So the one we worked on yesterday in class was cleaning the board, so I filled that in. Any prerequisite skills and knowledge. So we talked about what would you need to be able to do, what would you need to be able to know before you were able to clean the board. And so we talked about knowledge of what those cleaning materials were, and basically the arm movement to clean the board. Then you're going to come up with the task analysis. So we've done that in class. Basically, just what are those logical steps? Don't pick a task that's more than, I would say, like 8 steps. You want to do a task that's more than, say, 3, but because you want to be able to, you have to be able to teach the steps, but you don't want to do anything super, super long. So this is 6. 6 is a perfect number. Then, so the chaining procedure, this part's a little bit confusing. When you teach your task, you have to use total chaining, which if you remember total chaining, that is you teach every step as you go along the task, as opposed to forward or backward chaining. Now, what I want you to do in this worksheet is tell me, if you were going to teach this skill in real life, like cleaning the board, would you use forward or backward chaining? Backwards chaining is a good match when you've got that natural reinforcement at the end. So if you're going to do something with food, like the chocolate milk example, backwards chaining would be a great way to teach it. So I want you to include that in your worksheet. However, when you teach it, I want you to use total chaining. And the reason why I'm doing that is because backwards chaining just doesn't really make sense to show in a video. If you use total chaining, you're prompting on every step basically, so I can really see whether you know how to do prompting. Forward chaining would be a good match if that first step was really easy, or if your learner knew how to do that first step. Again, we're not using learners with disabilities, so your learner essentially would know how to do that first step, but you're having them make mistakes anyway. So it's just kind of an unnatural situation. So basically the bottom line is, I want you to put what chaining procedure would you use, but in the video, I want you to use total chaining, okay? If you have any questions about that, email me. Prompting procedure, everybody's using least to most, so you can just go ahead and fill that in. And then when are you going to reinforce? You're going to reinforce after every step and at the end. And what I would also do is just put like verbal praise. And then at the end, for cleaning the board, there's going to be more verbal praise. But if you have something where there's a natural reinforcer at the end, like they're using a vending machine or they're cooking or they get to like do something when they're all done, you would want to put that in there. You could just do like another bullet and put natural reinforcer, whatever that is. Okay? Now, here's your data collection sheet. So if you remember, right, I'm going to pull up that blank one again just so we see it. Here's what you guys are going to open. And basically what you're going to do is fill in, you need to have 5 sessions of data, okay? And then you're going to fill your steps in over here. So if you look at my example, I've got 5 sessions of data, and I just put in dates, doesn't matter the dates, and I put in my steps over here about how you clean the board, okay? And then the next thing you're going to do, and this is what we did in class, is we just sort of made up this first session of data. And what you need to do is basically create opportunities for prompting. Your data can't look like this, which is all independent, right? Because if they're independent, that means they don't need to be taught and you don't need to be prompting. So you want to have some opportunity of the full range of prompting. And in my example, or I'm sorry, in the directions, I do say, prompting levels are 4 levels. At least 2/3 of the steps require prompting. 1/3 of the steps require the full range of prompting. So you do have to have some full physical prompting in there. Okay. So basically what we did in class is we just made up like verbal, gestural, independent. We just filled in some prompting there. And then what you're going to do is make up the data for the rest of your sessions. And you sort of want to see a gradual increase in independence. So for example, if you look at this full physical, right, that's the full range of prompting, then they went up to partial physical, then they went up to a gestural, and then finally an independent. So you can see that you're going to have some increase in independence. It's not a huge deal if your graph shows like a downward trend or a flat trend, that's fine, but hopefully your data in real life would be increasing, but you don't have to have that. So then what you're going to do is, well, first of all, I have this highlighted because everybody in your data collection sheet, you need to indicate which one's videotaped. I don't care if you highlight it. I don't care if you put videotape here. Either way, just show me which one you're videotaping so I know which day to look at. Then what you're going to do is you're going to have your learner, basically you're going to teach your learner how to clean the board or whatever your task is and make the same mistakes that you have on the sheet. Now, something that will really help is you absolutely can have this data collection sheet in front of you, in front of your learner. We've had it where like if someone's cleaning the dishes, they just tape like kind of the steps on the board so then your learner knows when to mess up, when not to mess up. Sorry guys, my dogs are being really noisy. I'm going to try to keep doing this. So then what you're going to do is you're actually going to videotape you teaching the step. So this first step in class, we practiced this. And so we said, okay, it's time to clean the board. Waited 3 seconds. She didn't immediately start gathering the materials. So after those 3 seconds, we gestured. I pointed to the materials. She didn't go get the materials. I waited another 3 seconds. I gave her the verbal prompt, go get the materials. She got the materials. waited another 3 seconds to see if she would then walk to the board, which she didn't. So then I gestured, and then she did walk to the board. Then immediately you can see I have this as an independent. She just started cleaning the board on her own. I didn't need to prompt. I didn't need to do, I didn't need to wait 3 seconds. But within that 3 second span, she started cleaning the board, which was great. And then so on. Same thing as we go down. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. We've practiced that in class. But if you have any questions, please let me know. The one thing you want to remember, 2 things you want to remember that students typically make mistakes on. 1, they don't wait the full 3 seconds before prompting because they're always thinking about, like, they're kind of stressed about what they have to do for the next step. And 2, they're not providing reinforcement after every step. So even if you had to do a full physical, so I did do a full physical for her to clean the board with the tissue. I even said, wow, great job. You cleaned the board. Because that reinforcement will help her, hopefully increase her independence the next time. And then at the very end, I gave lots of verbal praise for cleaning the board. So you're going to film all of that, and you're going to somehow share it with me. You can either share it through your Google Drive, which is fine, but please put the link in your Blackboard. You don't need to email me. Please don't email me because it gets lost in my inbox. Share the link in your Blackboard submission, or you can upload it to YouTube and share the link. You can make it private, whatever, and share the link in your Blackboard submission. All right? Then, when that's all done, you want to add up. So what you then have is a key for a weighted prompting system. So you can see you have the same key as I do. So you can just retype this right here. The code, independent, gestural, verbal, partial physical, full physical, and then I assign those values. And then what you're going to do is basically fill that in, right? So a full physical is a 0, you can see. A partial physical is a 1. A verbal is a 2, okay? So you're going to fill all that in. You're going to add it up, and you're going to subtract it from, like, the full amount of points that they can earn. So the full amount of points is independent for every step. If she did an independent for every step, which you can actually see here, she would get 24 points. And here she did, so she got 24 out of 24. But here, she made mistakes on 3 of the steps, so her points dropped, and if you add those up, it's 19 out of 24. Then you're going to find the percentages here, and you're going to graph that. Here's what the graph looks like. Here's how you graph. So you're going to pull up Excel. You select all of that. Okay, hold on. Insert. Go over to your line graph. Choose the first one. Here's what it looks like. 2 things you need to do. Change your name, or change the title of the graph. So board cleaning, or cleaning the board. And then you want to make sure your numbers go up to 100. So you're going to go over to, hold on. This is different than what it looked like in class. 8. Okay, here it is. Change your maximum to 100. There you go. There's your board cleaning. Select. So you want to copy that and just ignore my dogs. And then you're just going to paste that into your worksheet. And that's what it looks like. All right. So that's it. Woo, for that assignment. Let me know if you guys have any questions as you go along. But this should be helpful. We had a couple students who did come to class on yesterday. So they would be good to reach out to. Just let me know if you have any questions. Okay, have a great holiday. I will see you guys on Tuesday.